You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it is this boy? The Phantom Menace.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Lee Esses.
The final number in our countdown of the month is 1. And of course, we cannot talk about 1 without talking about the chosen one.
I'm going to be real honest, this is not one of my favorite tropes out there. I feel like it pigeonholes your main character into not making decisions that would be in character and doesn't allow them to choose to step up even when they feel like they couldn't. I much prefer the Frodo over the Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker in this case because Frodo was not big enough for the task, but he stepped up anyway.
When it comes to the Chosen One story, it largely depends on how you choose to write it, how it plays out. And this is something that we definitely suggest everyone tries writing at some point in time, because you will learn a lot from it, even if you tend to write modern murder mysteries. There is so much to be learned about the standard way the Chosen One plays into a story and how you can adjust it to fit what you actually need it to be.
And I think it does help you understand agency within your character, and that helps make things feel richer, make the character feel more realistic.
And this often coincides with the hero's journey plot structure, and it's a large part of why you see the Chosen One in the fantasy-style settings, like Star Wars, where you have this big journey and it's the Chosen One who has to embark on it.
Often you'll see this show up extra potently right at the beginning of the story with your Oracle character or your call to adventure, the one who says, you must be the one who saves the day. The Oracle character is saying that your MC must be the one to save the day because of their special powers or whatever, because they were chosen. So that's why you see a lot of these hand in hand with fantasy.
So that's the first key to what makes a Chosen One story, and it is that kind of establishing prophecy at the beginning of the story. There are a few ways that you can connect this to the broader story in general to make it make sense. And I think you need to have it this way to make it make sense. Otherwise, it feels very because I said so. So the first thing you need to do if you choose to have a prophecy that makes the Chosen One is to have some sort of connection to the history and the world building of your story. Without that connection, without having some sort of established reason for this prophecy to exist, it's not going to feel real. It's not going to feel connected to the rest of your story.
That means that this is also an opportunity for you as an author to include a lot of that history. Well, the prophecy said this. What prophecy? Oh, when the big bad 2,000 years ago was dying, he said he would return in exactly 2,000 years. Okay, now we know that this big bad was fought, and we start to see some of that world building in direct connection with your main character.
There's often also some sort of religious-esque group that is in charge of maintaining the prophecy, especially if it was something made 2,000 years ago. There is a group that needs to hold on to it, that needs to continue that story throughout the centuries, so that when the Chosen One comes around, people know about the prophecy. They know it exists.
I think this is a really undersold opportunity for you as a storyteller, because almost always they're seen as this secret society. You see that in like The Fifth Element, where there are these more or less nut jobs that understand just this prophecy and nothing else. And often your mentor character will fall from this secret society. But if you make the secret society bad guys, it can be a lot more fun and that kind of a twist on the classic Chosen One story that you're building. Something also to consider is when you're talking about the Chosen One, someone had to be the one doing the choosing. So there is a prophet. It could have been the big bad 2,000 years ago or some Trelawney saying it in order to get hired for a job. there is someone who is saying the prophecy, and more often than not, they are only vaguely tangentially related to the ongoing events of today, if at all.
And honestly, when it comes to a prophecy, it needs to end up being fulfilled, but it should be in an unexpected way, or there should be multiple ways for it to play out through the story rather than the obvious, straightforward way. Because if you have a prophecy, you establish it at the beginning, and it plays out exactly as it said, that's kind of boring. So you want to make sure if you have this trope in there to play with it and make it more unique than face value.
Now, when you are giving a prophecy, it's very common you will also give qualifications for the prophecy. Things that will negate other people or make it look like maybe Neville Longbottom is the person who is going to be the chosen one, someone besides your main character. Those qualifications are a huge part of what makes your MC convinced that they're the one for the job.
These qualifications are usually listed within the prophecy itself. A lot of the times it has to do with the main character's personality, their virtue. It's often said that they have to be worthy or have a pure heart to do a thing, like Arthur pulling the sword Excalibur from the stone or lifting Thor's hammer, that kind of thing. But it can get even more specific than that with something like the seventh son of a seventh son.
These types of things are things that are not necessarily in your character's control. So Anakin was conceived by the Force. It's possible that was the one that the prophecy is talking about. Harry did not choose to be marked by Voldemort, but that is the key that proves that yes, he is this particular person. So not only do they have to be worthy because of who they are, but they also have to be worthy because of their circumstance.
So looking at the Voldemort example, while Neville fit many of the other qualifications of the prophecy that was given, it was Harry that was chosen by Voldemort to be the biggest threat.
Now, of course, within your story, there is that classic denial of the call. No, you must mean anybody else except me. I'm just a farmer's son. There's no way that I could be Zeus's long-lost kid.
It would be a very interesting story to see a chosen one be like, well, yeah, of course I'm the chosen one the entire time. I know Harry kind of got that way towards the middle, but he wasn't always accepting of the fact he was the chosen one. So I think that would be rather hilarious to play that up, but it would be very difficult to do correctly.
I saw a video online that showed an early teens boy that popped into this Fey wilderness. Two fairies approach the kid and go, "You're the chosen one. We need you to defeat the big bad, blah, blah, blah." And then he goes and just gets obliterated by the big bad. And then the fairies are talking afterward going, eventually we're going to be right.
So part of the reason why there needs to be some sort of denial of their role as the chosen one is largely due to creating the tension needed in your story. When you have that reluctant hero, when you have the push against the prophecy, it creates a lot more tension within your story. If they don't believe in themselves, are they actually going to be able to do this?
You'll often see this character pointing to other people, going, well, why isn't it Dumbledore's job to get rid of Voldemort? Why does it have to be Harry's? Which is a perfectly legitimate question.
And that's, I think, where both of our issue comes with the chosen one trope is the only the hero can do this thing. It's like, okay, but there's a lot of other people around that are far more qualified. What is it about the hero that makes him so special?
And it could be that he just has superpowers and no one else does. So only he can do what no one else can. That's why the Flash is so almost eager to wear this burden of being a superhero, because only he can do the thing. So no one else can be the superhero. And this is a very common in especially comics and these kinds of stories where Superman or whatever is the only one who can, so he must. It is the right thing to do. And that's a lot of why your chosen ones end up accepting it, is because no one is going to defend my aunt unless I defend my aunt. I will defend my aunt regardless of the prophecy.
I know we've done a little bit of dissing of this particular trope, but really it can be a good one. It can really help you stretch and expand your abilities to write and create an interesting narrative of a character who is sent on a journey that they may or may not actually want to do.
And I think the in spite of the prophecy is really going to be the key in making this character feel real. That it doesn't matter what the prophecy said, goes in line with the rejection of the prophecy, but still allows your character to be a hero. I feel like that is going to be your sweet spot in the middle, and allow your character to choose to be the hero still, regardless of what the prophecy says. And then it turns out, hey, look, the prophecy was right all along. I would not advise making your character ignorant of the prophecy, because then it's not really a prophecy. It's not like the world knew the second coming of this character or blah, blah, blah.
In the end, you have to do, though, what fits your story. So if your story needs a chosen one, if it needs to have that one character going on their adventure and they're the only ones that can defeat the bad guy, then do it. And make sure that you
write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.